Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Place to Soar, where our motto is step out and redesign, and the focus is always on you. I'm very, very happy to have this gentleman here with me today, a very distinguished artist. I'm Anita Russell, and I'm the host for The Place to Soar, and I'm going to jump right in by reading this gentleman's bio. His name is J.D. Baez, and he's an artist from the Philadelphia area, and the SOAR values that he selected are creativity and vision, and when I read his bio and we talk to him, you're going to see exactly why he chose those particular values. Inspiring, authentic, natural, eclipsing, truthful, selfless, and beautiful are words that come to mind when describing this painter, J.D. Baez. He is an artist who, while still in his infancy, has produced many great paintings, an artist born in Puerto Rico, raised in Brooklyn, and now residing in Philadelphia. No written piece can capture his essence perfectly, an essence that even escapes J.D.'s hands. J.D. has achieved, a word he would not use to describe his feats, quite a few huge moments in his life, with many more to come. Beginning with his love for art, which stemmed from a special love for an artist named Shauna Williams, this love grew with a connection to his patience and an eclipsing inner peace. Love led his fingers to brushes to oil, and oil to beauty. Beauty and love led to his love of beauty. Having been drawing for only 2 years, which I find amazing, J.D. has begun to walk into his art and is becoming aware of his heart walking into his heart as well. So I'm going to read this quote that I picked up from him, and it really kind of talks about one of the aspects of his painting. Eyes are my main focus in all my paintings, not the shape, but more of the arch, the subtle squint of the eyeball. You can get a completely different emotion if not done right. You see personality and character. So let's start there and tell me, like, that quote is just amazing.
Well, me, for instance, with my art, especially with my portraits, I like subtlety in my messages. So it's nothing ever going to be so blatant as to even someone crying, but I would try and capture that squint. You get that heaviness in your eyes before you shed a tear. That way, when you look at a painting of mine, if you were to look a little deeper and closer, you should catch some type of emotion from it, and that kind of ties into why the painting was created, or what I'm trying to present to the world.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit of your story. Like, how did you get to the place where you are now? I mean, especially since you've only been painting for 2 years.
Yeah, well, 2 years ago, I met an artist, love her to death, Shauna Williams. She kind of like taught me the basics of oil painting. In her teaching me, I realized that oil painting requires something that I lacked at the time, and it was patience. I honestly did not have patience at all before this time. You know, my life, I was a New Yorker, so everything's moving really fast. So in doing so, you know, I kind of learned that, okay, maybe you should just leave this, come back to it later. It's not something that you could tackle now. And even with my process now, my personal painting process, it's very layered. So it starts off, and then I build on that. And that kind of taps into, you know, just the depth that I'm trying to create, the colors I'm trying to pull. Everything is like layered and done patiently.
So this was, would you say that your creative ability was a surprise to you?
It was. As far as, I've always been a visual person. I was always into videography, photography, um, games. It was always the visual aspect that I found pleasing. So for me to actually create something beautiful was a shock to me, because I could always capture it, but me to do it with my hands was something completely mind-blowing. Even though you see other artists do it, I never thought me myself would be any good at it until, of course, I tried.
Right,
So.
right, right. So tell me a little bit more about what you did before you started as a painter.
Okay. Before, I was, well, my 9 to 5 has always been a computer technician.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
a techie. I fix stuff. But before that, I was really into photography. And I started off in high school with just a basic little Canon, and I fell in love with that. Then in going into video, I started trying to produce and play with music videos. So it's always been evolving. Since I was younger, it's just a different medium. Same idea, same concept, different medium.
So I am always curious, particularly with creative people. I have a daughter who went to school. She was a musical theater major, and she's incredible on stage. And I was able to see that she had a gift when she was 3 years old. The first time she went on stage, I could see that she had a gift. So what are some of the things that were showing up when you were a little kid that kind of maybe hinted that you had this ability and this creative artistry lying within yourself?
Well, my mom always said I was, she used to paint. She used to do abstract paintings. So she would always say when I was much younger, I would always mimic her and just stick around her and whatever. I would ruin her paintings all the time because me, as a 5-year-old, I felt this was wrong. This should be done this way. So she always enticed me to do things, draw. Even in like junior high school, she tried to get me into art and stuff like that. But I really didn't realize until high school that I was really trying to capture a particular type of beauty. And that kind of stemmed off to the lack of beauty in life. It was just like, you know, rough childhood, beautiful imagery was my way of, okay, coping. Like I have this really beautiful picture. You know, I took this when we were going through stuff, you know, and stuff like that. So that's really what sparked off my artistic sense of capturing or trying to capture particular things.
So so you weren't necessarily trained, or you went to photography school,
No,
or what?
Everything I've done.
Just a natural ability.
It's always been, not so more natural, it's always been an interest, and then I research a lot.
Okay.
So I study, I've studied a lot of oil painters. Even when I was doing photography, I was studying really good National Geographic photographers. I was studying their methods, but doing it in an urban setting. So it was kind of like my way of just mimicking them, but for me, like my own view on things.
Excellent. So how did you end up, so you said you started off in New York. Well, you were born in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
So at what age did you come to the United States?
I was in the United States by the age of 3.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I was pretty much raised out here. I went from state to state. I was in foster care, so you know you move around a lot.
Yeah, I understand.
But yeah, for the most part, I stayed in New York most of my life until hit about 25. Met a girl. She was from Philly, so kind of like dove out here on a whim. And then I just stayed since then.
So you've been in Philly for how long?
5 years now.
Oh, for 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you think about not so much just living in New York versus Philadelphia, but from an artistic perspective, do you see a difference in living in one type of urban environment versus another type of urban environment?
Yeah, actually, I've been talking to that with my friends a lot. Artistically, different cities have a completely different vibe. And a lot of artists have a completely different drive. I went to Boston for the first time about 3 weeks ago, and the artists out there are, I would call them just neo-soul. From the visual artists to the musicians, that's what I felt when I was out there. You know, it was really like mellow. In New York, the events I've gone to, a lot of the artists are into more so like trap art. you know, graffiti and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
In Philly, I've seen a lot of, it's mixed. So I'm having fun meeting the artists out here in Philly because a lot of them are, you know, more unique style than when I was in New York. Certain things out here entice me a bit more. When I go to these events, it's just like, oh, okay, this is new to me versus New York. When you're raised there, you're just like, everybody's done this already.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my daughter actually just moved to New York, so I'm finding myself being in that environment a lot more.
It's gonna be new.
Yeah. So we have these two beautiful paintings here. So can we talk a little bit about these paintings, and particularly this one? This is stunning to me.
Thank you.
And so can you talk a little bit about how this painting evolved? What's the story behind it, the inspiration?
Well, yeah, this painting is, it's actually a piece requested by a friend of mine's in Philadelphia. She is getting back into her Native American roots. She's mixed.
Oh, okay.
So it was inspired by her, obviously, but in me hearing her story and how she's always tried to dig in there, but being a light-skinned black female, she's always been, you know, like brushed off. Like, we don't take your Native American roots seriously. It's something that she went through. So I really tried to like just bring out something unique. And her eyes were just so intense to me ever since I met her. And I said, I'm just really gonna focus on this eye, your eyes. And in discussing the photos, this one was what she felt was right for her. This is the emotion she was trying to express. And like it's beautiful to me, like the slight timidness, like the awareness in her face is what we're trying to present in this. It's just like we are aware of who we are. So yeah, it's been fun, and I cannot wait to deliver it to her tomorrow.
So you're delivering it tomorrow?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So
it's
she will
just
be
beautiful.
receiving
So
it
can you
tomorrow.
talk a little bit about the process that you go through to
Yeah.
end up with something this beautiful?
Well, like I was explaining, my process is really layered. Like I start off with one color. I do this entire painting in what artists consider an underpainting, which is just trying to get the actual image on the canvas, but also play with the depth. So I'll start with one color just to get her structure right. Could be a blue, could be a green. With hers, I went green because I felt like she has a lot of olive tones in her skin. So it was like fun trying to pull those out subtly because she is also really, really light. So, and then I just go over and quite literally lay it over. I'm painting it over and over with particular colors. My mixing of colors happens on the canvas. So if I wanted a purple, I would actually paint something blue and then a few days later come back with a light red and paint over it.
Now that's
So
interesting.
it's a really old style of painting.
So you know old masters who have painted that way?
I can't name any off the top of my head. I'm nervous, but yeah,
No, that's okay.
That's where I got it from.
Okay.
The old style of paintings with the underpaintings. Da Vinci painted this way. Him, Michelangelo, they all had like very thin layers of paint versus, you know, when you look at Picasso, it's like heavy on the paint. This is more so like playing with the actual light going through the color, bouncing off the canvas and coming back. So I like the whole science behind it.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So has she seen this yet or
no? She
no?
has seen it.
Oh,
She's in love with it. She's excited. She couldn't make it out today. She was going to come and grab her painting.
Yeah, that would have been great if she could have been here with us. That would have been fantastic. So tell us the story behind this beautiful painting here.
That one is me. It's not me as far as the person, but it's me as far as this is the painting that actually made me want to solidify myself as a great artist, or take that leap of faith into...
So this is one of your earlier pieces?
This is actually one of my first pieces of this size. And even the butterflies, like I said, my messages are subtle. The butterflies were initially started as to just show a pattern, but I wanted evolution.
Yes,
And
yeah.
even in my art, I feel like this is the one that it just became a person versus a painting. So it's off the wall. It's becoming reality. So hence the butterflies.
Yes.
And from here on out, I expected to do better pieces and, you know, continue. But this was my statement piece. It's just like, you're going to take me seriously.
Yes, yes,
So-
yes. Because you can see the metamorphosis as you're
Yes.
moving across the painting, and that's
And at
just
the
so
time,
obvious.
that's what I was going through, my metamorphosis
Yes.
of just doing this for fun, and let's do something important. Let's send a message to people, and let's bring this beauty to reality.
Absolutely. So this particular woman here, is she a model, or that was from
No,
your?
she is a
your
friend of
mind?
mine's from
Oh, okay.
South Africa.
Oh, from South Africa.
Yeah, so she was
Wow.
down there, and she did take this picture. This stemmed from a selfie she took on her balcony one day, and I
Oh,
said,
wow.
I gotta paint this. I need this, and we just clicked from there and took it on. A lot of my work is actually based off of selfies that people
Oh,
take.
okay, okay.
But it's the expression behind it.
Yes.
It's that's the joy. Like when I'm scrolling through social media, it's always funny to see a smile, but know that there's something deeper
Yes.
in the eyes. So that's why I kind of like, okay, I want to paint this, or I want to capture this. And there's days when I'll just draw nothing but eyes.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
it's fun trying to, you know, capture expression.
Do you have any self-portraits in
Me,
your
no,
collection?
I would never. I don't. I have this theory of where I don't see myself like everybody else sees me.
Well, yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
like I never wanted to try and picture myself, paint myself. I don't even take selfies. I'm not.
Yeah, because I remember when I asked you for a photograph, you were a little bit hesitant.
Yeah, I said a
But you
photo
know
of me
what?
or the paintings.
No, well, but
Exactly.
what I found was the photographs that you sent me of you, they were fantastic. And I particularly liked the one where you were in silhouette. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love that picture.
But I love it as well. But I love it because I'm in
because you're in
silhouette.
silhouette. Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
You
yeah,
know who I
get it.
am. You know, as long as the paintings are the focus in my pictures, I'm okay. So,
Okay, okay. So tell me a little bit about how your art speaks to sort of the community, or speaks on a social level, or like from an activist perspective.
Definitely.
If you could tell me a little bit about that.
Right now, we're like I have a lot of pieces that are like mildly, like we spoke about, artists, activists. A lot of my pieces do have a particular message. Like this one was stemmed off of the pipelines that are
Yes.
going through.
Yes, yes.
I have a few pieces that we're going to be working on. I just started called like the Band Beauty series.
Yes.
And it's going to be women, on my end, it's going to be women of the 6 continents banned by Trump on the travel ban. And what we're going to do is we're going to each take a person from this continent and try and recreate them and bring that to light.
Yes.
That we are banning these beauties. Like, this is somebody that, you know, can do so much more for the United States. And I feel like you're just being
So your
ignorant.
intention is to have images of real people.
Real people.
Okay.
Yeah, from
Okay.
here on out, I plan on doing more empowering pieces. All of my art stemmed from the idea that we are beautiful. I do not like how we are portrayed in the media.
Yes.
Social network does it worse. And now we have, you know, people in government that are blatantly trying to make us look even worse. So I feel like my job as an artist is the least I can do is portray this beauty, paint you and let you see you are this beautiful. This is who you are. This is who we are. So like all of my work is pretty much just all different types of women, different positions, different people. And it's because I'm just trying to, if I could paint one of each, I would do that. Just to let you all know, you are all beautiful.
Yes.
Like, so that's my goal as an artist. As far as the political aspect, we're going to start a whole new series of events just based off social injustices. like personally, I am starting a drive towards getting Just Sessions removed. He has to be removed from office. So there's going to be pieces that are going to be representing what he stands for. And then these pieces are my way of showing the world, like, listen, this is what, it's right here, it's right in front of you. I repainted it for you. Focus, pay attention. So this year is going to be really interesting for me.
Good. It sounds very exciting. So do you do art exhibits where you have your pieces on display? So can you talk a little bit about that?
As often as I can. I am, like I said, very new to this. So I've been displayed at the Urban Art Gallery in Philadelphia.
That's actually how we got connected.
Yeah. I've been out there. I've done a few pop-up shows. This year is my year to actually start having my own shows. Whereas I'll be hosting the show, but I want other artists to come out and display their work with me, alongside me. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get to the point where I'll be doing any solo shows this year, but there will be a whole bunch of group shows that people should look out for. I'm going to blast social media with it, and it's all going to be for a positive.
Yes.
You know, it's all going to be working towards something. A lot of donations, a lot of you know, new programs that we're going to try and start just to get the kids off the street. You know, there's so much going on this year. I'm really excited.
So you mentioned things about getting the kids off the street. Do you have the intention of doing some of the things that you talked about, programs that are designed specifically for children?
Yes. The last event we did was actually specifically for impoverished children in urban areas, where we try to, you know, just focus on that and bring people out and then have that as the topic of discussion. And what we will be doing is actually taking all this money and then giving back to the community, just giving it back to them. Like, we want to try and start having programs where the kids could come in as well and like paint for the day.
Oh, wow. Yes.
You know, and just come out, just come off the street. There's food drives going on right now. Like, these are what I mean by social injustices, because it's an injustice when you think about it. Your kid should not go hungry based off where they live. Chance the Rapper just, you know, did a great thing. He gave Chicago School District $1 million. These are the type of things that I want to do when I get there. You know, the government isn't going to take care of us. So I think it's about time we just start taking care of ourselves, you know, and work together and build, you know, a community for ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. So do you go into schools or anything like that?
I will start going into schools. I'm actually in talks with somebody in the NAACP, so we could actually start programs with them as far as getting me and a few other artists into schools, just to explain to the kids, like, listen, there's another way you could express yourself. And you could do this too if you care to. If you can't do this, we have photographers. We're willing to work with you. We'll teach you anything you want to know, but just get creative and, you know, just try and show the world how you're really feeling. Like, that's the goal. It's just like, speak to the world and do it this way. Don't go out there and do nothing dumb. Don't throw a fit. Don't start fights. Just come and take this direction.
So how do you personally define creativity?
My creativity, or just creativity in general, I would have to say just your mind, taking something that your soul thinks about, your mind, your heart, and then literally creating it, putting it out there. There's so many forms of creativity. I think everybody's a creative in their own way. I cannot write. I cannot write at all. I admire my friend's writing, which is the one that you read in the beginning. My bio was written by him.
Yes.
Like, that's amazing to me, how somebody could take, like, especially me, and romanticize it, but be so poetic about it.
It's poetic, absolutely. Yes.
It's just like, that's what I find, like, amazing to me, because I couldn't do it. And then, like, you have creatives that are production, you know, companies. You know, there's so many ways of being creatives now. especially with like the internet and computers, the way they're going.
Yes, yes.
So I feel like as long as you're creating what your heart thinks, as long as you're creating what you'd want your heart to say,
Yes.
then you're a great creator.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. So what I'd like you to do is, because I'd like our audience to know how they can get in touch with you. So if you have a website, Facebook, whatever, if you could kind of call that out now. And
yeah, I'm mainly on Instagram if you want to get personal with me. I try and stay on Instagram as much as possible. It is art_Baez, and that's Baez. And my website is artbybaez.com.
Excellent, excellent. So what are those final words that you would like to leave with the audience?
I guess I would have to say that I think it's really time to try and promote ourselves better. We need to stand up as artists and as business people, lawyers. We need to start representing ourselves better because the media isn't doing it. And like, thank God for shows like you who give people an outlet to come out and discuss these things, or at least, you know, promote themselves to the world. I feel like this year my goal is going to be just to promote my brother, my sister, so we could build together. My personal quote is, building in survival is beauty. So it's just like, you gotta work on that. You gotta continue to build. You gotta continue to survive, and that is what's beautiful. It's, you know, it's just the grind.
Yes, yes. So I am so glad that we had the opportunity to meet, and like you said earlier, talking about the Urban Art Gallery. That's really how we indirectly got connected. And one of the things that I feel really, really blessed, you're talking about me being able to do this show, it's such a blessing for me to find those treasures out there, because there are just treasures everywhere, but you just have to open up your heart, open up your mind, open up your eyes to be able to see all the incredibly magnificent people that are out there on this planet doing fantastic things. So I just want to thank you for braving that blizzard and getting up here and sitting down and talking with us. So I really, really appreciate you, and I'm just glad you're here. So I'm sure this is just the beginning of a really, really fantastic relationship, because when you do all these other things, I really want to know what's going on and you know, connect to my network and all that sort of thing.
I would love that.
Okay, excellent. So there you have it. This wonderful human being, J.D. Baez. You can connect with him online on Instagram as well as on his website. So I want to thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time at the Place to Soar. Bye-bye.